What's up, everybody? Patrick from wpbuilderhelper, and in today's video I want to respond to criticism, and I also want to take a look at some different things. Let's build a website today. What do you guys say? I've been getting a lot of people asking about building a website, and I wanted to take and go over some features that people have been talking about. But first, let's tackle the criticism, alright? So let's get started. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because it keeps coming up in videos over and over and over again, and I don't know at what point that I said that this channel was for experts, or at what point I proved that I'm an expert, or whatever the case is. But at some point you get frustrated with the number of comments that keep coming back, and they keep saying, hey, you're screwing up, you're wasting our time because you're showing that a page builder, like you're doing it wrong. I'm seeing your process. I don't want to see your process. I don't want to see you fumbling along with a page builder. Well, that's kind of what I built this channel off of. That's kind of what I'm doing. That's what I want to do. I don't want to show the expert clean approach because, quite frankly, if you look at any page builder, they already have the clean expert approach, and that kind of doesn't do them any good. I mean, if you have Dimitri from Brizy building a page, or you have Lewis from Oxygen building a page, or you have just any number of these, Ben from Elementor building a page, you have the Rockstar guy from Divi building a page, any number of these people, they make it look like it's just the easiest thing in the world, because you have to understand something. They are all masters of their craft. They focus on one page builder. Just like when a person is someone who just focuses on that theme, they become a master of that theme because they just focus on that one theme. And so I dip in a lot of different page builders and I give my opinions. And there's a lot of different page builders out there that have taken some of my opinions and they've said, you know what, that's a great idea, and they liked it. And I put in comments and I reply to page builders and themes and plugins, and I try and give them my honest feedback. If I'm struggling with it, sometimes that says a little bit more about me, and sometimes that says something about that actual plugin or page builder. If a page builder is too hard for someone to understand, it may just be that my limited mind frame is what's causing me to struggle with it. However, there's also the thought process that sometimes when you're building something, there's this whole principle called keep it simple, stupid. And the thought behind it, or it's KISS, the thought behind it is you don't try and make things too complicated. And some of these page builders sometimes, I think, go the route of making things a little too complicated. I think we've seen that a little bit with Brizy. We've seen that a little bit with Oxygen. We've seen that a little bit with all of these other page builders. And I plan to do a series on that, just so you know, just a video detailing some truth and some fiction with some of these page builders. Because there's some things out there that are getting misconstrued with all of these page builders and they don't understand. But each page builder works a different way than the last one. They don't all work the same. You could have many of the same features that are across all page builders, but they all work different. Modals in Oxygen works different than modals in Brizy. That works different than pop-ups in Elementor. They all work different. And that's the beauty about page builders. You don't have to pick just one. I think people try and mold page builders into this like one size fits all, but the fact is one size doesn't fit all. Most page builders, most themes, most everything that you find doesn't fit everything. You're never going to take and you're never going to get the same success with a, let's say a Blocksy site that has, and I'm picking on Blocksy, this is my fault, but a Blocksy site that someone who's got 1,200 products on their site. That's not worth your time. Even Woocommerce, you can do it. It's not the fact that you can't do it. It's the fact that there are other things that do it better. You would probably be better off with Shopify. You'd probably be better off with Magneto. You can do it with WooCommerce, yes, but at some point you get diminishing returns. And it's the same way with page builders. And I think that sometimes people forget that. So, yes, I'm going to stumble. Yes, I'm going to do things wrong. Yes, I'm going to struggle. Yes, I'm going to keep looking like an idiot. If you don't like it, there's plenty of other channels that they will polish it up and not waste your time and not do anything like that. I try and keep my videos as short and to the point as possible. But sorry, if you don't like it, there's other people. Hit the door and, don't let it hit you where the good Lord split you. But point being, I like all of the people who they comment and they give good feedback. Hey, improve your camera skills, improve this, improve that. When you give good criticism and feedback, I love that. So for you people, you're excellent. Thank you for the continued criticism and feedback. I love all of that, and I think that each one of you should be thanked for that, for helping someone out rather than taking and being critical over something that I'm doing in a video when I've never said that I'm going to be an expert in anything. That's just the way I see it. So without further ado, let's get into the video where I can be an expert. Alright everybody, so once again we're on a WooCommerce site that I built. So the thought process behind this site is going to be I'm going to be building WooCommerce with Brizy and showing you some of the new options and some of the things you can do and why you may want to use them and why you might want to not use them. And so it's going to be a lot of trial and error. For those people who don't like trial and error, I recommend that you go check out the regular Brizy stuff or the regular JP stuff, where it's not a lot of trial and error. It's very straight to the point. But in this video, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to build a WooCommerce. I've kind of done this a little bit with Oxygen, although to be quite honest, I never did finish it. The thought process is that I want to make a t-shirt company, so I've imported a lot of basic stuff. So I've got a basic Blocksy account. I could add the Blocksy the extensions, but for right now I'm just going to use the default Blocksy free, just because I'm not exactly sure if I really need the Blocksy Pro. I'm pretty sure I could do it with Blocksy free for right now, but this is what the site looks like, and Blocksy free has an excellent website. The colors are already kind of predetermined because we were using another site, so I'm going to switch those out. But the thought process is that, like I said, this is going to be a WooCommerce site, and I want to integrate Brizy into that. So part of what they have on the forum is they have a lot of people like failing to understand exactly how you can integrate Brizy into a WooCommerce type scenario, or how you would even do it. And that's kind of what I wanted to show here. I wanted to show, like, if you're one of these people who maybe you don't want to go with Brizy for everything, but maybe you want to take and you want to use it for just the main content of the page, like just this area, that's kind of what I want to do here. I kind of want to stick with Blocksy's header, because Blocksy's header is one of the best headers when it comes to a theme. I know that a lot of other themes have it now, but to me their header is very intuitive. It's very easy to use, and it's an easy header to use. Now the same could be said of Brizy, but then you start applying conditions and you start applying this and that, and there may be some other pages that I don't want to be Blocksy pages. So we're going to try and play with this and see if we can get this to work. I don't know if we can truly get this to work, but I'd like to try to make it happen. Because when you start messing with specific types of pages, you run into problems. And I'll show you what I mean as we go through it, but let's start with the basics. So I've already kind of worked on colors a little bit. So the general theme of the website is going to be, like I said, it's going to be a t-shirt theme, and or a t-shirt business. And the business itself is called Serving Wise. It's a political store. So if you're one of the people that don't like politics or whatever the case is, then this is not going to be the video for you. But serving lies is essentially, it's a play on words. It's the idea that politicians generally serve lies to the American people. It doesn't really matter what country you're in. It's just my thought process. Some people would say that that's a little bit too political, and it probably is, but the fact is, to me, it is what it is. I think that all politicians lie at some point in their life. They're not very great people at the end of the day. This looks good. I'm going to copy these colors. So what I did to get these colors was I went and built this logo. It's a pretty simple logo. It doesn't look great, but that's supposed to be the Statue of Liberty. And then, of course, this is like the flag and the colors of red and, white and blue all mixed together. And the white is obviously the background, but that's supposed to be the American flag. It's not going to be a super serious website, so if you're looking for a super serious website, that's not what this is. This is the thought process behind it would be that this would be more of a goofy, funny website where when politicians make stupid comments or say that the internet is a series of tubes, that is turned into a t-shirt design, because I feel like it needs to be turned into a t-shirt design. So that's the premise of what this page is going to be about. I've only really decided on these colors, but I really like to stick with these colors as much as possible. I haven't really thought much further than that, but the way that I got to these colors is I actually went to Google and I typed in RGB American flag colors, and it brought up the RGB colors that are the American flag, and I think it's this one that I grabbed. Yeah, it's this one, I believe. I believe that those are the two colors that I grabbed. And so all I'm really doing is copying these colors, and I'm using these colors. Although, I don't know. Does that look right? Yeah, I guess it does. I was trying to use my tool, but no, that's showing a different color. That's weird. I wonder if I got a different color because I picked a different link. I thought it was the exact link, but maybe it's not. Yeah, see, this is saying a different color. That's really, really weird. I wonder where I got those colors from. So I'll take and I'll start messing with those. I wonder what the difference between these colors are. Let me bring up my actual logo. I kind of want to see what the difference between these are before I jump into it. By the way, if you didn't know, this is an SVG file, which is pretty nice. SVG files are files that allow you to basically scale your design higher than what you normally would. So let's look at this. So this color is, yeah, that's a totally different color. That kind of sucks, because I thought I had the right colors, but it says the RGB colors are the blue and this is the red. Let's see how different that looks, because I want to see the different shades. That's what I'm kind of looking at, is the different shades. I don't want to have two different shades of blue on this website. So the idea is that we'll copy this. Okay, so it's just a little, this is more of like a, I bet you this is a darker red, if I had to guess. This red's going to be darker. I can already tell. But when I go in here, this red's going to be much, much darker. So I'm using Affinity Designer right now. And I accidentally clicked on OBS. Sorry. So I'm using Affinity Designer right now to build my logos. I like using Affinity Designer. I have Affinity Designer and Affinity Photo. They're my two go-to basically programs right now, because I feel like they're they're pretty solid. They're a solid choice, yeah. So that's just a brighter red. That's all it is. I don't hate that. It's not my ultimate favorite, but I don't hate it. I mean, I understand why they did it, because it's definitely a brighter color. It doesn't look as toned down as this. Like this is kind of toned. Okay, that's fine. I think we'll stick with this. Let's change this back to, oh, I selected the wrong E. Let's delete these. Get rid of them. Let's go in this group. Let's select this E. Change the color to the new red that we want to use, and we're going to change the color to the new red in this one also. Okay. Sorry if this seems boring to anyone. I know that there's a lot of people out there who probably are you know, are not for this, or they would rather not see something like this, but you know, this is just what I ended up doing. It looked terrible. I kind of didn't plan on this. It was one of those things where, let me see, I had another logo. I think it's this one. Yeah, this is the muted colors. Let's take these. So funny how when you search in Google you come up with like 2 different colors. So we'll save this. We'll save this just so we have it. And we're going to export this as an SVG. And the whole reason why you do SVG files is they typically are lower. They're lower, let's see, we'll call this logo SVG. Because if you name something the same thing, you run into some weird issues in WordPress where when you override it, it doesn't typically work very well. So the reason why you typically want to use SVGs rather than like PNGs or anything like that is because they have the tendency to scale better. They're vector, and so because they're vector, they scale at a much better rate than PNG or JPEG, which eventually at some point they tend to be bigger in size. Yeah, I like that. That's a better color. So they tend to be bigger in size, and I think that that's a pretty big problem with PNGs and JPEG. So if you can use them, try and get away from them. I'm going to borrow some colors here from this one. I'm going to, you know, X out of this. As a matter of fact, we could reset all these colors, but that's okay. I'm going to borrow these. So I want this color to be blue. This blue here. And I should just write this down because I'm going to be going in here and doing this. So I want this color to be the red. And we want white, black, and gray. I think that's pretty good. And when you roll over it, there you go. Look at that. It's pretty cool. So we've already kind of changed our colors on our website, as you can kind of see. Just from doing that one thing, we've changed the colors, which I kind of like. So we're going to publish that. We're also going to change the fonts, because this is using a, I don't even remember what the font's called, but I don't want to use something exactly like this. I'd rather the logo kind of stand out. So I want to build like a typography that's similar. So for that, I'm going to go to font pairs, because it really helps you figure out like what type of font you want. And if you don't know the difference between sans serif and serif, or display, or any of these terms, I suggest just kind of researching it, and it'll kind of give you an idea. I think I want to go with a display and a serif. And the reason for that is I want something that's kind of bold, but I also want serif, I feel like is a core of the United States. Like, they use serif a lot. So when you're using this, that's more readable, but wow, they don't really have that many pairs here. I thought they had way more pairs than what I thought. I guess that kind of sucks. Which is fine. I guess I'll just have to pick something. So we want something that kind of matches what I want to look at. I kind of like this. This April Fat Face and Leto. I kind of like those two. Of course, Josephine Sands, although I said that I wanted to stay away from that, but I like Josephine Sands too. I think we're going to go with this one. I like this one. It's a little bit different than our logo. It doesn't exactly match since this is like this, but at the same time, I like it. I really like the Josephine Sands, so I think I'm definitely sticking with that. I like the way this text looks, even though I said that I didn't want to go with that. I think I am going to go with that. I think that's what I'd really, really like to do, because it just looks really good. Yeah, definitely Josephine. Ubuntu's pretty cool too. Maybe Ubuntu and Josephine? I think I might do that. Of course, this looks kind of similar to it in some ways. Not really. But I guess I don't actually want to match the font. That's not actually my goal. My goal was just to find something that looked good. So Oxygen, Oswald, so let's go with Josephine Sands, and I like Oxygen. Let's go with that. So Josephine Sands and Oxygen. So we'll go back into the customizer and we'll set our base font as Josephine Sands. We like that. Yeah, it's got a nice little look to it. And we'll set our base font for this as Oxygen, which I really like how you can just go in and change things on the fly like that. It's pretty sweet. So you have to go and you have to change these for all of them. And I'm going to have to do this in Brizy also, so don't get too aggravated with this because it's going to happen again. The whole point in doing it this way is so that I can make sure on any pages, because we're doing a conglomerate of both Brizy and Blocksy, because I'm kind of like combining them both. I'm going to do the pages for Brizy, but I'm going to have the inner content using Blocksy, because I think the inner content for Blocksy is just much. They've got some things that you can do with it, so I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go with Josephine for this, and let's leave the rest of it all the same. So that looks good. I'm happy with that. We're starting to see a little bit of a difference here where we're kind of like going in and changing this. And of course, if you didn't want to customize this any more than this, you could just basically hit publish, and you could be started, you know, just with having a couple of things like this. Now, I did start working on Blocksy just so I could test it, because I didn't know what the newer Blocksy did. So I was playing with this, but you can see this has got kind of a different header. So I'm not going to be going with this. I'm not going to be using this. So I'm going to go in and delete that. Because Blocksy really can take over WooCommerce. But in order to make that happen, if you want WooCommerce, we can trash this too. If you want WooCommerce, you have to set up a product template. You have to set up a template essentially. So I'll show you while we're in here. So all this is a template basically, and it's using the header. I don't know why it's using this header. I don't know if I picked this header at one point, but it's using the header that's built into it. Now I don't know. Let me see something. I want to go in and go back to the dashboard for this page. So can I choose default template? I wonder. There's so much you don't know, and that, you know, oh, it didn't work. Never mind. I was hoping that this was going to allow me to see the template and like use it for that page, but it can't. So part of the problem that you run into, or that I'm going to run into, is when you're building. Oh, it does. It does. Sweet. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. So I wanted the header with Blocksy, and I want the inner contents with Brizy. Okay, sweet. That's cool. I didn't know that it would work that way. I thought that something funky was going on, but cool. Well, then we will be able to use this, and I will be able to show you. You learn so many different things when you start building pages like this, which is why I try and take people through this trip of kind of going through this adventure of building something from scratch and learning as you go. Because a lot of people get frustrated with it, but at the end of the day, the best way to learn is to actually sit there and start building things. So we're going to go here and we're going to trash a lot of this. We'll keep this contact, home, thrive. This was when I was doing some testing. Shop page is the front page. We don't actually want the shop page as the front page. Let me see what the shop page looks like. So that's that page. We don't actually want that as the front page, so we're going to build our own home page is what I'd like to do. And it doesn't have to be great, but I'd like to build just something different. And so I think that's what we're going to do. Let's go to home. It says the home's the terms and conditions. I think I just set it that. Yeah, so you can see the home was built with Brizy also. And I should have, shoot, I screwed up again. Let me delete this once this loads, because we don't want a header. And to be quite honest, we don't want any of this. And we'll just update it for right now. We'll leave it blank. And we're going to go back to the dashboard. Okay. I'm going to go back to the dashboard, and in the page attributes, rather than Brizy template, we're going to choose default template. We're going to be doing that for the whole site. The whole purpose of that is we want to, like I said, we want to edit the contents with Brizy, but we want to leave Blocksy doing what it does best, which is the header and footer and all that. We could do that with Brizy, and there's no reason why you can't do it with Brizy. It's just, for me, that's not what I want to build it for. I'm really building this so I could use a combination of Blocksy and Brizy. Like, rely on Brizy a little bit less than what, you know, building the whole site out. You could build everything with Brizy, but I'd prefer to use Blocksy for some of the other things. So once again, I'm hoping that you're seeing, just by what I'm doing and how I'm working through this, that you can kind of build out your own thing, which is kind of neat. I like the fact that you can do that. I still have this, like, this global icon that's here. I'm going to end up having to get rid of that. So let's take and drop a row in here, and we'll delete this because I think we just want one row. We don't want this header, so I need to go figure out how to get rid of that, because I'm sure that's something that comes on the Blocksy. That's in the Blocksy options, if I'm not mistaken. I just don't know if it's at the, yeah, it's not on the page. It's not on the page level. So where you would find this at is in Appearance Customizer. So you go to Appearance Customizer and you go down to Pages right here. And when you go into Pages, you can choose right here to turn off page title. Of course, you could leave it if you wanted to, but I think I'd rather turn it off. I do kind of like this though. That's kind of neat. So you can have a, let's click home and see what that looks like. Okay, so this is still kind of, I got to remove that. So you can have like either a simple header or you can have like this big header. And I'm assuming if you go into design, you can choose like, there's a background color, image overlay color. How do you choose the image? I'm assuming that that is in the title or excerpt. Post meta breadcrumbs, container width. Oh, here's your image. Featured. So it would just take the featured image. So if we went into, and I should have went and found some featured images. So we want to take some images such as, let's say, New York City, since that's like the most iconic. Okay. Kind of like this, but that's pretty cool. That's neat. I wonder if I could take is that like the back of the Statue of Liberty though? That's a little bit weird. I don't know if I'd necessarily like the back of the Statue of Liberty. That looks like the Ghostbuster building. Like that's a pretty good picture, but I don't necessarily like this is pretty good. But they don't have any that are like front facing. Like this is okay. I don't mind this. Let's download this. Wait, the size of this is going to be way too big. Before we download it, Jump Story, if FYI, in case you don't know, allows you to go in and resize your images. And I always kind of go in and resize them because I don't want them. I guess I should go about at least 1200. But I always resize them before I save them, just so that I can take and I can save them as something that just works out way better. And then we're going to go into Selling Lies, and I should have made a new folder, call this Images. Typically in the past you would call this Images, and we'll say Statue of Liberty. And I can't spell Liberty. I still think that's spelled wrong, but it's okay, you get the point. I can't spell today, apparently. But point being, I'm just trying to grab some images. I think I'm going to do a color overlay on it. I think that's what I'd like. So let's see what like a custom background. I guess you could just put a custom background on there. So let's upload this background. Let's see what this looks like. And yeah, because this is really just to test it out. That's a little bit weird. It just kind of disappears. So when I selected it, it doesn't do anything. Huh. It's a bit strange. I wonder why that happened. Let's leave it on featured then. Let's turn off the excerpt. Let's save that again. I don't mind this at the top of each page, but it needs to serve a purpose. I'd like the breadcrumbs too, because I think the breadcrumbs is important. Title and breadcrumbs. I don't care about the rest of it. So we will leave that on the main page. And then design for each page. I want to do a sidebar. I'm going to do this. So I'm going to have that in the sidebar so we can see. Well, that's weird. Why did it come back? And yet again, container background image, it disappears. Huh. That's weird. I wonder why it did that, or why it chooses to do that. Maybe because afterwards you got to hit publish. Doesn't seem like it works that way though. It's all right. It ain't that big of a deal. So let's go into the page and let's choose our featured image. Let's update the page. Let's continue to edit with Brizy. Now once again, this could all be done with Brizy, and you can kind of see here what it's doing. Like, you can also see that we've now got Brizy like in this little square here, which is the size of the page, because we're using narrow margins to kind of build it, which I'm fine with. I'm cool with that. It's also got a little parallax there. Kind of just looks like sky right now though. It's not kind of what I wanted, which now makes me think, should I just build it with Brizy? I could go in and I could build it using the options that are here, but I don't think I am. I'd like to know why that one issue, why that happens, but you know, you run into stuff like that when you start playing with things. Let's see if we can just build it with Brizy. I mean, I said that I was going to build the page with Brizy anyway, and that's just part of the page. I can turn off the home and everything, although I do like the breadcrumbs in the home. I don't like the double breadcrumb here, but I do like the breadcrumbs. I'm like at a crossroads. I think I'll stick with letting this be what it is, but I'm going to take it, I'm going to go into Blocksy, and I'm going to go back to customizing this, because I think it needs to be customized. I'd like each page to have a title, even though that seems repetitive, and I'd like to follow the same thing, boxed, page elements, featured image. Huh. Oh, I guess that's if you're using a featured image. Page background, page elements, featured image, full size. Content background, custom. See, it gives you the ability to put in a content background. So when we hit home, oh, okay, now it's working. That's weird. I wonder why it wasn't working before. Maybe just an error or some kind of... So let's see, design, overlay color. Let's choose like the red, and let's drop down the... I don't like the red. Let's go with the blue. Let's drop down the opacity of it. It's about 40% opacity. And let's see if we can adjust this image, because parallax effect. Let's not do parallax effect. I'd rather have this. My only problem with it is the container height. I wish the container height, I wish you could adjust the image, but you can't. And so that kind of sucks, because that's not exactly what I want. But it's close enough. I wish you could adjust the image like you could in Brizy, where you could physically go in. See, once you change it, funny thing enough too, once you change it, it's like it doesn't even render it for some reason. Must be just like a bug. If I click home, does it reload, refresh? Oh, you know what? I bet you that's the CSS. That's exactly what that is. That's the CSS. That's all it is. So breadcrumbs, let's go to breadcrumbs. That should be in general. Scroll to the top, breadcrumbs, and we'll choose our separator. I think I like that as a separator. Home, I want an icon rather than the home button. And in current post title, I don't think you need the current post title. I don't know. Those colors are not my favorite colors. I kind of wish the breadcrumb, I kind of wish you could customize the icon color, but apparently you cannot. It's going off your style sheet, and I can't customize it because I don't like those colors. I wish I could select different colors for them, but you can't. So it is what it is. Let's see, scroll to the top. Do we want to scroll to the top? I know one thing I don't want. I don't like this shadow at the top and the bottom, but that may be from Brizy itself. When we go into the page, we'll see if that's the case, because I don't like that. I'd rather just have the same background, like this grayish, this light gray color. I do want for the bottom of this page, the footer, I want a dark footer. So I want the footer to be like that blue. And oh, you can choose a gradient here too. Huh, that's neat. I didn't know you could choose a gradient. And then for the font, you can go in here in the copyright section and go in design, and you can choose the font color, and I'm going to choose white. I want that white font color. And let's give it some margin. Let's give it some breathing room. I didn't want to give it that much breathing room. Say 15 all the way around, maybe 25. It's working 25s. I like that. Just gives it a little bit more breathing room so it's not stuck. Like I said, I wish you could move this image where you could like adjust it, but I guess you can't. You can move the font, the text. That's pretty cool. But you can't move the image, which is, it's a shame that you can't move the image, but it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. So it's the basics of the page. We can kind of keep going in here. Like I don't know if we want a search box or not. I guess we do. People use search. I think it's repetitive though in the, to me it's repetitive to have it up here in the menu bar though. If I'm gonna have search right here in the top here for those areas, then I don't see why I would want search up here. Just seems super repetitive, like it's not even needed. Okay, we're not going to worry about sidebar because like I said, all of this is going to be developed with Brizy. That's the idea. So we're blending these two. We do want our performance on here. Let's set that out. And then from here, we're going to leave WooCommerce alone. Visitor engagement, we're not going to be setting up any of this. Social networks, we're not setting up any of this. And I think we're done. I think we're good. So let's start going into Brizy and let's see what we can build. The first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get rid of this because this just looks terrible. And it keeps applying it to pages. Another thing that's a problem though is this white box. So we're either going to do one or two things. Either we're going to make everything white, like the background's going to be white, or we're going to make this a different color. Let's go into that and let's see what we can find. You'll notice I jump back and forth a good bit when I'm looking at something just because I'm trying to figure out like what I want it to look like and just exactly how something should look like when you're playing with it. And the easiest way to do that is to kind of get into the pages itself and start looking at it. Like page background, it says it's inherited, but we're going to automatically set it to white because I think I like white a lot better. So if we go back to home, it should reload, and yeah, you can see we still got this, but it looks better being white. I thought I wanted the gray, but I don't want the gray, so that's cool. Let's go in and deal with this this Brizy header that I have that's showing up on every page. So this is a product template. It's just showing me what it would look like. It's not bad. Don't necessarily think I need that, but let's go into, where is that? Is that in the saved area? I don't know if it's in the saved area or not. I don't think it is. At some point I made a header on here when I was playing with it, and stupid me. Oh, I should do this right now while I'm thinking about it, because I'm going to need to add Josephine Sands. Continue. Done. And I'm going to need to add oxygen. I don't think we want mono. I think we want just oxygen. Is there no... That's weird. Huh. It's only giving me oxygen mono. That's a bit strange. So once again, this is why I do stuff like this. So that I can take and I can go through. You start learning a whole lot more as you're going through and doing all of this. Just because you get to learn what the ins and outs are of each and every little nook and cranny that's in something, you know? Understanding better how it works, what it does. Yeah, that is not the same at all. Let's add font. If I have to upload it, I will upload it, but that is not the same. That's weird. It says it's not found. Okay. So we can go to Google Fonts. And we'll type in oxygen. Huh. All they have is mono. I wonder why. Download the family. We'll put it in here. We can put it in pictures. It doesn't really matter. And then I think you can upload it just straight in here. Call it oxygen. Continue. So I got to go in and I actually have to unpack it, which I should have figured that. Move it into the images. So we've got a bold, a light, and a regular. And I should have looked. Are those, what type of files are those? TTF files. So TTF. We'll put in the regular. Add variation. We'll set that as normal. Add font. Add a variation font. We'll set as bold. We'll upload the bold font. We'll add that. And then we'll set one as light. And we'll upload the light version of the font. Okay, so we've got oxygen normal, bold, and light. And then we'll hit continue and done. And so now oxygen is in there and we can choose it. And we can even choose bold, light, or normal, which is pretty cool. So if you've never done that, then you're seeing something else that you also may or may not known that you could even do, and that is changing fonts and stuff like that. So I just added a font, which is neat. Oh, that's right. These are where the saved layouts are. So we want to go into the global layouts. Go into here and delete it. Okay. That should take care of that pesky header that keeps coming back on the home page. It should have removed it. Yeah. Well, I say that, but I need to exit out of here and go into here just so we can see. It's still showing up though. That's so weird. I wonder why this header is showing up on this page. Let's edit with Brizy. Let's remove it. Let's unsave it. Or is it make global, change the display conditions, delete, delete. Okay, that'll probably get rid of it. And then this appears to be in a, it appears to be doing something right now. I'm not exactly sure. And I can also see that I don't know, so I've created an issue because this page is supposed to be white. It doesn't look like it's saving the changes. Yeah, it didn't save the changes. Because this should be white too. Well, no, that's white and that's gone, so it's working. I don't really like this background. I'm gonna find something different that I like. But let's edit the page. Let's see what we can put together real quick. So the point of this page is going to be like a intro WooCommerce page. I'm not sure I'm going to have a sidebar in it either. So if I want to, I could take and I could just drop a block in here. And then from here, I could actually select, I think there's somewhere where you can actually select the block itself. So if you go in here, yeah, you could select, rather than cart, you could select product, and then you could select account, checkout, cart, order tracking. We don't want to do any of that. We'd rather do products. So maybe products. Although there's some weird 75 top and bottom. Let's go in and adjust this. I don't like these. 50, 50. And actually, let's go 25, 25. Okay. And then for colors, we wanna organize our styling. So we're gonna go back and we're gonna choose the color palette that we chose before. So let's go copy our colors. We want this as blue. We want this as red. Okay, and then we have a white. We'll choose a black just so we could have one. But as you can see, the black is, it's like literally choosing that as the color. It's not the color we want. We'd like to change this. So we'll go in here and select maybe the red, because I think I like the red. And then on hover, it turns blue, similar to that. Kind of like that. It's got a nice little fade that it has to it. Even almost looks like it has a shadow, but it's got a little fade to it. And for this, we're also going to go in and we're going to change this to have a different a different setup, because I don't really like the way this looks right now. I mean, I definitely want to have it, but at the same time, I think it needs more rows, that's for sure. But I don't want to go haywire. I think like 2 rows will be enough just to start. So like 2 rows of products, and I wanted to have this welcome here. I don't know that I necessarily like that. As a matter of fact, I don't think I like that. I think I'd rather have Brizy the whole entire page. I'm pretty indecisive right now, but I think that that's what I'd rather do. I was going to kind of use Blocksy for the header, but as I'm kind of playing with it and going through it, it's just not my favorite. I just don't like the way it looks. I'd rather have Brizy for the header and footer, and Blocksy for maybe everything else. Let's customize this. Again, pages, page titles, turn those off, save, and let's even turn off the, let's just set it to normal width, and let's even turn off the, like the page structure part. Let's just have full pages. Background is set to white. That's interesting. If the background's set to white, why is this coming out gray? Oh, well, it is set to white here now because you can't even see anything. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Because then from there, I can kind of adjust it as I need to. I mean, so far it's very basic, but I don't mind that. I like these buttons. Let's see the offset canvas. Menu type bordered. What is that? Oh, it's got a little border around it. I'm okay with bordered. I don't think bordered looks bad. Yeah, I'd rather have this as that. I think that looks better. The divider, would it be better to go with a red? Yeah, I think that separates it more. And then for the color of this, you could reveal it as a modal, which is basically like a pop-up or a side panel. Background. It's kind of cool. Trigger label, menu. I like that. Trigger, outline, menu, solid. Publish that. Yeah, I don't mind that. That'll do for right now. That could probably be a little bit bigger, and like this could be a little bit bigger to me. But that's not bad. That works. It at least fits, you know, it fits the theme. And so I'm good with that. I'm good with seeing this theme and everything like that. Okay, guys, running up on pretty much, like, I don't know. Let me check and see how long we've been going. Been going quite some time right now. Yeah, we've been going almost an hour. So now that we've been going an hour, I'm going to keep doing this series. I'm going to keep publishing it, kind of like I did with the Oxygen series. So I'll probably keep putting out stuff. It's just if you want to take and you want to like see how I'm building this. I know that I didn't get a lot done. I'm hoping that as I'm taking you through this and I'm walking you through, you can kind of like learn what I'm doing and how I'm doing something. And so you can see every step of the process from, you know, the logo design to going in and messing with these colors and see how my brain's working and how I'm thinking about these things interconnecting together and how they're going to fit in. So I think in the next video we'll tackle the home page for sure. I'm gonna draft out like kind of like a layout on the side that you won't be able to see, but I'll probably scan it in just so you can see it, and then we'll go from there. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time.